I'm one of those people who would buy this game for its single-player campaign. Battlefield was always a single-player game with multiplayer added on. That's what it's always fucking been. But they scrapped single player and filled it with microtransactions. It is not okay. And any of you out there who think it's okay, I'm going to tell you that you are wrong and you are part of the fucking problem.
Hey guys, how's it going? I've got a very special video for you today. This absolute Brainlet believes the Battlefield franchise has always been a single player game, and is giving DICE the middle finger. I'm surprised he didn't really mention the mess that happened with Battlefield 5. This is going to be a very long video to get through, you guys, so make sure you grab a drink, grab some snacks, and let's dive right into this video.
What's happening, guys? Supernova here, back with another video, and oh, this is gonna be a fucking good one, guys.
You can always tell a video is going to be really bad when they start laughing, thinking that they did good within the first 20 seconds of talking.
Because I have a lot I have to say about this particular topic. Because honestly, the more and more I thought about EA and this Battlefield 2042 game, the more it really pissed me off. And all I'm going to ask you is, regardless of how you feel about the situation, just please hear me out, hear what I have to say.
Trust me, dude, there's a good 25 minutes to this video to get through, and we'll watch the whole thing.
Because the video is really going to be, a twofold video. The first part's really going to be me explaining why I have issues with EA and the shit they're doing with this game. And the second part, and probably more importantly, is an explanation as to why I have issues with certain gamers' attitudes regarding EA and what they're doing with this game. And in many cases, their attitudes are probably actually more damaging to us as gamers.
What up, gamers?
You know what? It's always so weird to me to hear a middle-aged man like Supernova, Dreamcast guy, and Crap Gamer call people gamers.
Gamers.
What's up, gamers?
Gamers.
What's up, gamers?
Than what EA is doing. But with all that said, let's move into why I have an issue with EA and Battlefield 2042. First, let's talk about the pricing of the game. And for this example, I'm going to be using the current gen pricing of the game. So the price that you would pay if you're purchasing it on Series X or PlayStation 5.
Okay, but still, it's coming out on PC for $60, and will arguably be the superior version for less than the current gen consoles.
So we have the Standard Edition at $69.99, the Gold Edition at $99.99, and then the Ultimate Edition at $119.99.
Hey, look, I pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition.
So effectively $70, $100, and $120. And what's the difference between all of these?
Tell me why.
And by the way, this is a criticism I have for gaming in general, not just EA or Battlefield, but we're talking about this case specifically in this video. What's the difference between them?
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Oh, please tell us why.
With the exceptions of the Gold and Ultimate Edition giving you early access to the game, the difference between them is literally just fucking cosmetics.
So if it's literally just cosmetics, then why is this an issue though? Cosmetics don't affect the gameplay in any way. There is no advantage given to players if they buy cosmetics.
You know, you'll get the Gold Edition, and you'll get the Baku ACB-90 Epic Melee Takedown Knife. Ooh. So you can tell all the people you're playing with, "Hey, you see my knife? It's an epic knife. Isn't it awesome? Yeah, it's epic. I didn't have to accomplish anything to get it. I didn't have to do anything special to get it. I just gave them more money, and they gave me an epic knife. Yeah."
Yeah, it's a cosmetic item. It's a bonus for pre-ordering the game. It's an incentive to pre-order. I don't much care about it, but it's hilarious you're acting like a child over it.
So, I mean, it's really just fucking cosmetics.
So if it's just cosmetics, then why is this an issue? Like, seriously, what the fuck is wrong with it? It's not going to give people any advantage in the game, so who cares?
And then because they've now changed Battlefield from being a game where you pick a character class as you're going into battle to a game where you just pick a hero, very similar to something like Apex Legends or Rogue Company, you can pay more money to get immediate access to heroes that will be unlocked later on down the line. So instead of having to play the game and acquire whatever in-game currency there is to unlock these heroes when they become available, you just give them extra money, and the second they become available, boom, they're unlocked for you.
They're experimenting with their class-based combat that they already have established. Their specialists will all have unique gadgets and traits that benefit their role, that being the classic 4 classes in Battlefield: Assault, Support, Engineer, and Recon. Each specialist is going to be within one of these 4 classes to choose from. Is it really an issue unlocking them early if they pay? I mean, as long as people can still unlock them either by playing through or through the battle pass, who really cares? It's a whole other story if they're locked behind a paywall, but there's nothing stating that.
This game is also going to have a battle pass system. Very similar again to Apex Legends, Rogue Company, or even Call of Duty Warzone, where if you buy the premium battle pass, the more you play the game, the more shit you will eventually unlock. Because without the battle pass, as you play, there'll be items that you would have been able to unlock had you had the battle pass, but you're gonna miss them.
If you feel the battle pass is worth getting, why should it matter? It's a choice if you want to spend the money to get those items. As long as it doesn't give people advantages in game, it shouldn't matter. I play tons of games that have cosmetics that you can pay for. If I don't like the skins, I won't pay for it. You know, why clutter my inventory with things I don't want when I can focus on getting skins that I do want?
So as you're playing, you're like, oh shit, if I would have had the battle pass, I would have just unlocked a 30-minute booster, or I would have unlocked a new skin for my weapon, or I would have unlocked a new emoji for my character, but because I don't have the battle pass, I missed out on those things.
Okay, again, if you feel the battle pass is worth getting, then why should it matter if people pay the extra money for it? If it doesn't affect the game, and it's just for looks, why is this an issue? I mean, it's up to the player's choice if they want to get it.
Right? So the battle pass incentivizes you to go and purchase it so you don't feel like you're missing out on shit. And they're very clever in the way they show the battle pass because it's just a timeline.
Bruh.
Are you actually meaning this is the Battle Pass timeline for Battlefield 2042? Dude, this is from Call of Duty Cold War. Are you serious? They've yet to show off the Battle Pass unless you're just meaning how they work in other games?
And as you're progressing, it shows you all the shit that you could have, but hey, you don't have the battle pass, right? It is sneaky shit, okay? Now, I know a lot of you right now are saying, yo, Supernova, I really don't see a problem with any of this so far. And hold on, because I'm getting there, okay?
I mean, it would be better if you actually say why it's wrong.
Now, what else did we learn about Battlefield 2042 yesterday? We learned that Battlefield 2042 is a online multiplayer-only game.
Here we go. The thing that mostly everyone that hates on Battlefield 2042 brings up.
As in, it does not have any single-player campaign. Why does this matter? Because they're charging full price for this game, and they're essentially selling you half of a fucking game.
How do you figure they're only selling half of the game? Do you seriously put single-player campaigns that high? Especially when the franchise is not well known for its single-player campaigns?
Because Battlefield was always a single-player game with multiplayer added on. It was never a multiplayer game with a single-player campaign.
You're joking. You've got to be joking. The Battlefield franchise has always been about multiplayer. It wasn't until Bad Company where they introduced a single-player campaign, meaning from 2002 to 2007, it was nothing but multiplayer or face it against bots. And even then, the single-player campaigns in Battlefield aren't that great. If you actually played the series, you'd know this.
Yes, over the years, there may have been more of an emphasis on multiplayer, but it was still always a single-player game with multiplayer on the side.
I'm convinced you either haven't played the Battlefield games for very long, or you really have no idea what you're talking about. And that pretty much can sum up your video.
And I know right away some of you are going to be like, yo, Supernova, that's because nobody gives a shit about the single-player campaign. Nobody buys Battlefield for the single-player campaign. They buy it for the multiplayer.
Yeah, because the majority of players do in fact buy it for the multiplayer. I won't bash you for wanting single player, but trying to state that that is the sole reason for getting a Battlefield game is a bit depressing.
And I'm going to say to you, that's not necessarily true, and in my opinion, I think it's bullshit because I'm one of those people who would buy this game for its single-player campaign.
That's hilarious. Don't hate yourself like that.
We do exist, and I'm going to ask you a question. Think about who we're talking about here.
Give me your fucking money!
We're talking about EA here, one of the greediest fucking publishers in the business. So is it more likely that A, EA looked at their statistics and said, hey, it looks like nobody's playing single player, let's just not make that?
Whether it's EA or DICE's decision to not make a single-player campaign, they know their fan base prefers multiplayer. And with the mess of Battlefield 5, I'm not really surprised they're taking a multiplayer-only approach. They're focusing on the core part of the game that everyone prefers. Would it be nice to have a single-player campaign? Sure, but it's not something to cry about if it's not included.
Or B, they said, hey, you know what? I bet you we could scrap single player and still sell these dumb motherfuckers just as many copies of the game. And hey, even if we don't sell as many copies, think about it. We don't have to spend money on mocap, voice actors, someone to write the story, animators to animate big set pieces. None of that shit. And I bet you we can still sell almost the same amount of copies.
I bet they'll still sell as much, if not more, especially compared to Battlefield 5. The developers that would have been tasked with creating the single player are no longer needed. They'll move on to the multiplayer modes of the game, meaning more work and development time will be put towards part of the game that players enjoy more. They won't have to waste time hiring actors and story writers. I don't know about you, but for a game like Battlefield, this is only beneficial.
I see this as an absolute win.
And you know what? That's going to help us pocket millions of dollars. Right? What do you think is the more likely scenario coming from
Give me your fucking money!
that internally they saw that just not enough people like or want to play single player, or that they saw internally that, hey, we can probably scrap single player, so close to the same number of copies, if not the same number of copies, and pocket the difference? What do you think is actually fucking happening here?
Not to repeat myself too much here, but they're focusing on what the majority of their fan base wants to play. It's as simple as that.
And think about the fact that this is the same EA who sells us a Madden and FIFA every fucking year, even though they're almost identical to the Madden and FIFA that came before. They're pretty much the same game with a roster update. This is the same fucking EA that's like, yo, look at these dumb motherfuckers. They're willing to buy the same shit we sold them last year with an updated roster. How fucking stupid are they?
That's EA developing FIFA and Madden, not DICE, the developer of the Battlefield franchise.
Right? And now again, I'm sure there's some of you out there that are like, yo, Supernova, I still don't see the problem. Well, here's the fucking problem. Even though I don't like the battle pass and the heroes and, microtransactions for cosmetics or any of that bullshit.
Since when did they ever say anything about microtransactions? The only thing extra you get is through the battle pass.
I can accept it in a game like Apex Legends or a game like Rogue Company or a game like Call of Duty Warzone. Because those games are free to fucking play.
Yeah, those are typically a single-player game mode, where Battlefield will have multiple game modes, maps, and future content that'll expand the game. So I really don't see the problem. You can play Warzone, but if you want to play the multiplayer of Cold War, you have to buy the game.
It doesn't cost me a single cent if I want to download those games and play them. The only way that those games make money is if people are buying the battle pass and the cosmetics and the microtransactions. That's the only way that those games make money.
Congratulations. It's almost as if they meant it to be that way because they aren't full-fledged games.
So even though I don't like that shit, in games like that, I can accept it. But Battlefield 2042 is a full fucking price game. So you're going to be paying minimum, if you're on the older generations and PC, minimum $59.99.
Yep, and I am more willing to pay for a game like Battlefield 2042, especially after seeing the gameplay trailer.
To then also have battle passes and microtransactions and no single player campaign.
I realize this video of yours came right when the game basically was announced, but you've yet to make an update video correcting yourself. There is no microtransactions within the game. I don't know where you even got this idea unless you're just talking out of your ass.
Apex Legends, another game published by EA, is free to play, and it made $600 million last year in microtransactions. Which again, hey, it is a free-to-play game. The only way they're making money is through microtransactions. But here comes EA saying, you know what? How about we fucking put microtransactions in the game and we fucking charge them for the game? Why fucking not? Right? Because this is the same EA who's constantly in hot water for their fucking loot boxes and constantly in hot water because they're being accused of basically having gambling in their video games.
Yeah, microtransactions suck. I won't defend a game that implements it, especially in a greedy way that EA has done in the past. But with something like a battle pass, you get to see everything you get. It's completely different. Everything that's going to be in the battle pass, you can see it.
Because I don't know if you understand this or not, EA, and not just them, but many publishers throughout gaming, are using our brains and our psychology against us because things like loot boxes, things like the battle passes, they are designed to take advantage of the dopamine that our brains produce when we win shit. That's why gambling is so addictive. When you play slots and you win something, your brain produces dopamine, the feel-good chemical.
Yeah, and most developers and publishers have been called out on it enough now that they're steering away from it, thus introducing battle passes, which is a far better alternative in my opinion. I'd much rather pay 10 to 15 bucks versus 40 to 50 on a season pass, especially when that divides the player base.
So whereas people may see Battlefield 2042 as, oh look, this new online multiplayer game is coming out, I see it as EA saying, hey, I bet you we can sell these dumb motherfuckers this online-only game and still make a fuck ton off the microtransactions.
There is no microtransactions in the game.
At the end of the fucking day, they're selling us less, but they're asking more for it. And I'm sorry, no. They can go fuck themselves. I'm not buying this game.
That's fine. DICE won't care when so many others and myself are actually excited for this game.
And the thing is, you shouldn't either. Let me get into the next part of the video, because as destructive as I think publishers like EA are to gaming, it is the mentality of certain gamers out there that I think is ultimately more destructive, because there are millions of you out there who are apologists for EA, or who make excuses for the shit they do, or who say, oh, it's not a big deal, or oh, it's not bad, or oh, it's okay. And I'm here to fucking tell you, no, it's not.
I'll never apologize or defend EA for whatever shitty practices that they do. Patrick Sutherland was cancerous during Battlefield 5, and with him gone, it's already more reassuring for the game. Not to mention the gameplay we've seen already is backing that up.
Something else you need to think about when it comes to EA, specifically fucking EA, is this scrapping single player thing is not something that's new or something they just thought of. They've been trying to get rid of single player for years. This is the very same EA who back in 2010, yes, 2010, 11 fucking years ago, tried saying that single player games are dead.
Wow, over a decade ago. It's almost as if it wasn't solely meant for Battlefield.
Here's the exact quote. They're very comfortable moving the discussion towards how we make connected gameplay, be it cooperative or multiplayer or online services, as opposed to fire and forget, packaged goods only, single player, 25 hours, and you're out. I think that model is finished. 11 years ago, they were trying to tell us that people aren't playing the single player. 11 years ago, they were trying to condition us to the idea that people don't care about single player, all they care about is multiplayer.
I mean, things change, especially within a decade. Yet again, Battlefield has always been about multiplayer.
And again, I think that's bullshit. And even if you personally don't give a shit about single player, it doesn't mean that people don't give a shit about single player, or that single player games are dead, as evident by many single player games becoming huge critical and financial successes since 2010. So EA has been trying to condition us to not care about single player for over a fucking decade. I want you to think about that. Here's a couple of comments to illustrate the most common kind of pushback I get when I complain about Battlefield 2042.
Let's get ready for this.
I never played Battlefield single-player campaign since Battlefield 3 and always wanted it out of Battlefield series. Battlefield is a multiplayer game and EA should give 100% time to Battlefield Online.
I wouldn't say that I want single player removed entirely from the games, yet if they choose to not make it, so be it. More time will be put towards the part of the game that the majority of players want.
No campaign is great in my opinion. It means more development went into the part of the game that has the most replay value. Plus, it's been confirmed you can play against AI bots. Not sure if you need to be online for that, but it's a great addition, I think.
That's true. Whichever developers were meant to create the single player will now focus on developing the multiplayer.
And look, I understand what these people are saying and where they're coming from, but I would like to say that to say shit like, well, I don't play the single player, so fuck it, I don't give a shit about it, is a bit selfish if we're being honest, right? Right?
I don't think so when it comes to a franchise like Battlefield. Now, compared to a franchise like Call of Duty, who has a decent single-player campaign, then yes, there'd be more people complaining about them scrapping the single player.
You fucking selfish sons of bitches. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that these individuals, and again, I understand where they're coming from. They're thinking, hey, if they don't spend money and time and resources on single player, they can put more time and resources and money into multiplayer and make the multiplayer experience much bigger and much better.
Yeah, it might not be exactly one-to-one of a development process, yet still, if more people are working on the multiplayer aspect of the game, then it will be better.
Right? And hey, that is a fair outlook to have. That is a fair thought to have. That is a fair conclusion for you to have, seeing that they've scrapped single player. It is totally fair for you to think, oh, they scrapped single player to take that shit and roll it into making multiplayer even better.
So what's the issue then with a game like Battlefield?
Totally fair to think that, right? And you know what? In the world of Leave It to Beaver, maybe that would be the case, right? Like, gee, guys, they're scrapping single player to put all that money back into making multiplayer better. That's how it would work in fucking like 1950s Leave It to Beaverland, right? But in the real world, in 2021, with a company whose motto is,
Give me your fucking money!
if you honestly think that they're taking whatever money they're saving by scrapping single player to then roll it into the multiplayer to make the multiplayer a bigger, better experience, then I have some fucking magic beans to sell you, my friend. I have these magic beans to fucking sell you because Jesus Christ, you are fucking naive. Why would they?
I'm officially convinced this guy has only recently started playing Battlefield games. You cannot tell me someone that knows of Battlefield and have played the series actually thinks this way.
There's no reason to. They can sell us the same shit they sell us all the time, minus the single player, pocket the cash, still sell the same amount of copies, and have the microtransactions. And I know that there are going to be some of you out there who are going to say, well, it's not fair to compare Battlefield to games like Apex Legends or Call of Duty Warzone because it's such a bigger game, right? There's going to be way more players in the lobbies, and there's vehicles, and the maps are much bigger, so it's fair to charge money for that.
I don't know, dude. There's no microtransactions. All future DLC, specialists, maps, and game modes will be free. Battle passes will be roughly 10 to 15 max. You'll be able to see everything within them, so I really don't see why you can get upset because they're scrapping a crappy single-player campaign.
And I'm here to tell you, no, that doesn't mean shit. That's what Battlefield has always fucking been. So you can't try to make the excuse to me that, oh, well, it has all this other extra shit, so it's worth the full price. No, that's what it's always fucking been. But they scrapped single player and filled it with microtransactions. So no, I'm sorry, that is not a valid excuse.
You'd have a point if Battlefield was more focused around single player, then decide to scrap it entirely and fill it with microtransactions. But that's not the case here. You're talking out of your ass trying to make the point. I mean, for God's sakes, I'm half tempted to end the video here because we're just repeating the same shit.
There's no reason for them to be charging full price, and there's literally no reason for them to roll money back into the multiplayer.
This is just an absolute asinine point. Free games to play like Warzone, Apex Legends, and whatever other Battle Royale games out there that are free to play would get such backlash if they were charged $60 to play on top of the microtransactions they have, because the content they offer is minimum in comparison to a game like Battlefield.
They're going to get the money from us anyway. It doesn't matter what they do. We're still going to be dumb enough to give them money. There's a term that you may or may not have heard. It's called FOMO. And FOMO stands for the fear of missing out. And what that basically means is people will either be willing to do shit or be willing to buy shit just because of the fear that they are missing out on something that somebody else has or is experiencing. Like someone who maybe doesn't want to buy Battlefield because of all the reasons I've listed, but their friends bought Battlefield. And they're afraid of missing out on whatever fun times they could have.
That's up to them if they feel like it's worth picking up. Multiplayer games are always more enjoyable with friends. I've bought a handful of multiplayer games because friends got them so we all could play together. That's on them if they don't want to pick it up.
Playing with their friends. So you know what? They cave and buy the fucking game anyway. Even though they, like me, don't want to support the company for all the reasons listed. But that FOMO kicks in. The fear of missing out kicks in, and they buy it anyway.
Can't call yourself a gamer then.
All of these publishers, they know that FOMO is real. They know that they can get the money from us anyway, that it doesn't matter. And that's why, like I said, I am not buying this game, and I implore you to not buy this game. I don't care how much you want to play. I don't care how cool the gameplay may look come the 13th when they show us the gameplay. I don't care. I implore you to not buy this game. So we can send a message to EA that no, it is not cool to sell us multiplayer only games stripped of features that the game used to have, filled with microtransactions and all kinds of other bullshit that is acceptable in a free-to-play game, in a game that they are going to charge us full price for. It is not okay. And any of you out there who think it's okay, I'm going to tell you that you are wrong, and you are part of the fucking problem. It's because of people like you that these publishers continue to bend us the fuck over and push harder and push harder and push harder.
Yes, Daisama. Ooh. But shame on you for getting Battlefield 2042, because you're part of the problem. Remember, EA bad, DICE bad.
And slowly strip more shit away and more shit away and more shit away. It's because of fucking people like you. And I'm asking you to stop. Look at what we're able to accomplish when it came to Battlefront 2. When we all took a collective stand against EA when it came to their fucking loot box bullshit.
Yeah, that was bullshit. They loaded that game up with a ton of microtransactions and pay-to-win crap, yet we aren't seeing the same thing with Battlefield 2042.
There's zero reason why we can't send the same message when it comes to Battlefield 2042 and the shit that they're trying to pull off here. But as long as we don't say anything, as long as there's no pushback, as long as you just give them your fucking money, they're going to continue to pull this shit on us. And look, I understand people like Optimus Code who are making the argument that, hey, that's fucking capitalism, right? This company puts a product out there and we as the consumers decide whether or not we want to give them money for that product. That is capitalism. I totally understand that and I agree. And I'm all for capitalism. And at the end of the day, I honestly don't give a shit how you spend your money or what you do with your life.
So if you don't care how people spend their money or do with their lives, then maybe you should have waited before making this video. Maybe then you wouldn't have made such a bad take, especially when Battlefield 2042 looks promising.
Just like people who want to use illicit drugs, right? If you want to sit there and shoot up heroin every day, hey, it's your fucking body. You should be able to decide what you do with your own fucking body.
I don't condone people taking drugs unless it's legal in your state. If so, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't judge.
I don't give a shit what you do, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to your money. I don't give a fuck how you spend your money. The difference here is that this is a company who is taking advantage of us, taking advantage of the consumers. And they will continue to do so if we just hand them money. So while I understand the argument that, hey, that's capitalism, in this instance, it is a company who is taking advantage of us.
Yet the points you try to bring up are either old news, old EA, or has nothing to do with DICE and Battlefield. So this whole video of yours is pretty much pointless. What exactly made you think this was going to be a good video to make?
Battlefield was always a single-player game with multiplayer added on, and will continue to do so unless we do something about it. And it's not just EA. This instance is EA. But as other companies see what EA is doing, they're going to follow suit. It'll be a domino effect. When one gets away with it, the other's going to try it. Because it's monkey see, monkey do in any fucking industry. When somebody does something and finds success, their competition is going to do the same shit. So other publishers are going to see what EA was able to do and say, you know what? We're going to do the same fucking thing.
However, this kind of crap can go unnoticed on consoles because people on there hardly speak up. Only recently have console players started speaking out enough. Yet crap like this hardly gets by on PC. PC players hardly take the crap that you're talking about. And if other publishers and developers try to do sneaky shit like this, it's not going to last on PC.
Why not? EA did it. Why can't we fucking do it? Letting publishers and companies get away with taking advantage of us just sets up the precedent for other companies and publishers to take advantage of us. But at the end of the day, like I said before, it is your money, it is your life. Do whatever you want to do. But just keep in mind the things that I've said, because I think I've made it really clear why just giving EA your money is not only hurtful to you, whether you realize it or not, but it's also damaging to the entire gaming industry when it comes to us as consumers. And that's why I am not going to give EA a single fucking cent for Battlefield 2042. And why I am telling EA that they can go fuck themselves. And I really, like I said, implore you to do the same. And with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. And that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you agree with anything I've said today in this video, do me a favor and please share this video. Share it to as many fucking people as you possibly can. Because I think that this is a message that ultimately people need to hear. These are things that people need to think about before willingly handing over cash to publishers and companies.
Well, I'm nearly at 900 subscribers on YouTube here. I can't really say if it's the kind of awareness you're looking for. So that's the end of the video, guys. This was a pretty long one to get through. If you made it to the end of the video, I greatly appreciate it. So what do you guys think of Supernova's thoughts on telling EA to fuck off? I feel he's living in the past because while EA might still have some remnants of their ill practices, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be, especially because DICE is nothing now like what he was trying to say. Even Patrick Sutherland, having left the company as the CEO back in 2018, he's screwed up Battlefield 5 so badly. Whether he left himself or got the boot, who knows? Battlefield 2042 is looking fantastic in my opinion. I've already got the Ultimate Edition pre-ordered, I can't wait to play the beta. Do you guys have Battlefield 2042 pre-ordered as well? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. All my social media links are all down below in the description. I have a Discord server where you can chat with femboys, gamers, other femboy lovers, and me. With all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!